Hello viewers, welcome to Northeast today's live session with me, Deboshri Adhikari. We have a very special guest with us tonight. She is none other than Ms. Jahnabi Phookan, the immediate past president of FICCI FLO, which is an organization that works for the welfare of women empowerment and equal opportunities of women. Currently has 8,000 members and professional women entrepreneurs. It is also a division of the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry and APAC's body of commerce and industry in India. Not only that, she is also the co-founder of JTI Group and two award-winning tourism companies, Jungle Travels India and Assam Bengal Navigation. Not only that, she's also the co-founder of Konyak Store. So without further ado, let's welcome our guest of the evening, Ms. Jahnabi Phookan. Hello, ma'am. Welcome to Northeast today's live session. Thank you so much for appearing on our show, for taking your time out. It really means a lot to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
And ma'am, we'll soon go ahead with the question and answers. But before that, we have actually made a video on your entire life journey, a small tribute to your work. Would you like to see that first, and then we can head on with the question and answers?
Okay, let's have a look at that.
Okay, ma'am, let's see that first.
Jahnabi Phookan is an entrepreneur, co-founder of Konyak Store, the former immediate past president at FICCI FLO, the women's wing of the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and also the co-founder of two award-winning tourism companies, Jungle Travels India and Assam Bengal Network. Konyak Store is the platform for grassroots artisans of India's Northeast with native handicrafts and handloom products. In 2020, she became the 37th National President of FICCI FLO and the first ever person from the Northeast to head a National Chamber of Commerce. During her tenure as President of FICCI, Jahnabi Phookan worked extensively towards sustainable practices and livelihood for the financial stability of women. Passionate about women's empowerment, Phookan strongly advocates and tirelessly works towards building sustainable livelihoods for women's economic upliftment. Phookan has worked for the causes of women empowerment, equality, social justice, and skill development in order to make them more confident, employable, and independent. She has worked for the cause of women weavers of Assam and runs her own signature line as Tribal Heritage and Lahe Looms since 2014.
Oh, ma'am, I'm really sorry. I got disconnected there for a second. I'll come again. And that was a wonderful video, ma'am. It's such a beautiful journey you have had.
Thank you so much, and congratulations for putting it together, cobbling it all together.
It's an honor, ma'am, to have you again. And also from the video, we got to see that you specialized in journalism. You were alumni of Indian Institute of Mass Communication, and you studied abroad as well. And then you took up entrepreneurship. So why the shift? And tell us about your journalism background as well.
Yes. So thanks very much, Deboshri. I must tell you that, at heart, I think I'm a journalist. I trained in the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, as you said. In those days, it was very difficult to get in there. And
Yes.
we were 20 Indian students, and the rest were overseas students. And it was a great learning. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. When I came back to Assam, married in 1981, there was no, and I had specialized in audiovisual communication. but there was no Doordarshan. Even Doordarshan wasn't there. So we're talking about then long before you all were born. So that's how I went into print journalism. And I was very lucky to get an opportunity with Sentinel, was the first offset newspaper those days. You probably haven't even heard of something called the letterpress, which was what Assam Tribune was those days.
Okay.
With Sentinel, I got my first opportunity and I got into print journalism. And my husband Ashish was equally interested. So we would, it was a great organization which grew. And I was very grateful to have a mentor in Jahnabis Journalism, editor. And I love my time there. But went abroad to do my master's in mass communication. Came back and my husband Ashish said that don't work for anyone else, work for yourself. Let's start something. But he's a tea man. He was in J. Thomas that time as a tea taster, tea man. And when our daughter was 2 years old, we decided, okay, let's start doing something. So that's how the whole idea of jungle travel started. So let's bring in tourists to the jungles of the Northeast. It really happened like a very small thought and vision, but it's been a 30-year-old journey, and that's how we stumbled into entrepreneurship. And we're still there. So, but like I said, journalism is my first love, and every opportunity I get, I love to, interact.
Wow, that's so wonderful, ma'am. And also, this you are leading so many organizations, and you also have your own line called Heirlooms. So tell us about that. How did it come into life?
Yes. So all those years down the line, these 30 years, Heirlooms was about my 10-year journey. When bringing in tourists into the Northeast, we also saw that those days, 10 years ago, there was a dire need. We only had maybe the government emporiums, and we knew that we had so much more beautiful things and authentic products of our region to show. So that's how we started with an organization called Konyak. I'll come to that later. But Lahe is how I got involved with the weavers of Assam. And my first weaver was really, she enthused me so much to help in, the design intervention, give a better quality yarn. So she would go back with the yarn and the color combination that would give her all the way back to Demaji Lokhimpur, weave there, come back a month later, and I would distribute it among friends. And so it got so structured by the time it was, I think, 2007. By 2014, I could actually set up my own center next to the Diflu River Lodge, which is our resort in Kaziranga. And now we have women there with their families, and they live there, they work there, and we are trying to recreate old designs. And really, it's like for me, it's a revivalist sort of a love that I have, that to be able to show our old designs and concentrate on our natural dyes. And a little different from what Hualkusi and the run-of-the-mill produce. So that is why we called it Lahe Looms. It's slow. It's slow, and it's a sustainable, slow livelihood model that I'm being able to hand over and sustain. So that's how, after all those years, from 1989 when we started Jungle Travels along with my husband, till 2014 when we started Lahe Looms, and the company registered as Lahe Lifestyle. So whatever we do is under this lifestyle.
And ma'am, you also have your own the store platform called Konyak Store. So could you tell us about that? Because I've seen the products while I was checking out your page, and those are like some beautifully made handicraft. There were some beautifully made handicraft and handloom products, and they were giving a lot of opportunities to all this hand weavers and artifacts. So it's so great that we have stores like this in Assam and all of Northeast. So please tell us about that as well.
Debashri, what happened with Konyak was that, like I said, along my journey in tourism, there were no nice places to be able to showcase what we had. And my, there's this doyen of the arts, really, of Northeast, Jasmina Zeliang, Naga entrepreneur. We got together and we said, no, we have to do something about it. And we named it Out of Northeast India. So we only concentrate on our artisan, only a handloom hand-woven, handcrafted goods. It was easy, would have been the easier way out to just produce my mekhla saros and saris and say, in Murshidabad next door or in Banaras, a lot of weavers are doing that because the cost of production is low. But that defeats the very purpose. Our purpose is that to be able to give sustainable livelihoods to our people. So my partner, Mina, has amazing weavers in Nagaland, and they all work from home. She's providing that sustainable livelihood right there. And her cushions and her furniture and all her artifacts, they go all over the world, and it's being done right in Nagaland. That was my hope too. Whatever I should be able to cultivate in Assam should be from our own people. And that is why Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Arunachal, all our states of the Northeast, we try to take a bit from everywhere. And we try to keep giving back to the same people. So if our people support our local arts and crafts, it goes back to our artisans. So we must remember that. And, we must gift consciously, which is what that visual right there was about. Our Majuli masks, our bamboo natural dye mats from Tripura.
Yeah.
So let us take pride in our own product. Let us, showcase our own people, our own, artistry. So that is the whole motive and the passion behind Cognac, which started in 2008.
And not only this, you were also the first ever Northeastern to head the Chamber of Commerce. You were elected as the national president of FICCI FLO, which is quite a big achievement. This haven't before. You're the first person from the Northeast who had such a big department. So could you tell us about that, and what were your duties as the 37th president of the department?
Yes, well, this is not the department, it's the chamber. So FICCI, the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, is the oldest body in the country. And FICCI FLO, which is the women's wing of FICCI, is the oldest chamber for women in South Asia. And for us, when I was when the national president then, in 2007, Kiran Gera, she came from Mumbai and she wanted to set up the chapter in Assam. She approached a bunch of us and wanted us to, start this. And I would say that, no, I don't have the time. I'm too busy with my own business, my own work. And she said, no, you must be able to work beyond your business. So thanks to Kiran Gera, I think, I decided to join up, and with our founding members, I was the founder, vice chairperson in 2007. 2008, I was the chairperson. And that long journey finally saw me as the 37th national president. And yes, I was surprised to find that no Northeasterner has ever held a position in a national chamber of business in the country. It's a sad commentary, I think, on our affairs. Man or male or female, there was nobody until I got that rare opportunity. And I felt the responsibility very heavily, because I was not there just for myself as an individual, enjoying a sort of a crown on my head. It wasn't that. I felt the responsibility to be able to, since I was going as an ambassador, I feel very strongly that I was an ambassador for my region. I had to show what we are from, how we can contribute to the rest of the country and leave a sort of a legacy behind. So when you say what my duty was, each president is allowed to have her own mission for the year. It's only a 1-year term. However, I took on my mission in February last year, and I said that we will work towards sustainable practices and sustainable livelihoods for women's economic upliftment. And sustainability is a concept which is very dear to my company, because coming from the Northeast, we understand that sustainability. But in February last year, I don't think the rest of the, Delhi and the rest of the chapters were really understanding what was the importance of sustainability. But by March 2020, when COVID hit us, That sustainability really became center stage to everything. That is what we meant. That is what, and on that challenge, I think I could convert the whole crisis of COVID into an opportunity. And though we worked online, we sort of cleared up many milestones, which I'll talk about later if you allow me.
Yeah,
So
yeah, ma'am.
that's
Like,
able to.
yes, ma'am. Like on that note, like your tenure started as the president of FICCI, and just then the pandemic hit. So, like,
Yes,
what were the challenges that you had
yes,
to? Were there any challenges that you had to go through
yes.
during that?
So it was like, what will she do? I mean, that we probably just not do anything because how could we work? But I
Yeah.
was like, it was possible. It was possible to set the tone. So what was our tone? That we had already decided. In FLO, FICCI FLO, for 36 years, we always work at 3 levels. The idea is that we work at the grassroots, we work at the urban level, and the corporate. So I have the vision that we will work towards just on the urban level. In the grassroots, we would work on adopting a village each. We have 17 chapters across the country. The idea was concentrate on a microcosm of women. And we give our attention only to that microcosm of women. India, this is a continent we are in. It's not even a country, like a continent. So each of us in one chapter take a little place, adopt a little village, just concentrate, give our efforts there, mentor them, incubate them, give time to the women, and give them the training, the skills, the incubation, mentorship, the whole the gamut we had in place. And with that focus, then I'm very proud to say at the end of that 1 year, it was really a 10.5 months tenure, that out of my 17 chapters, we had 143 villages adopted across the country. And today, even though I've stepped down and my new president has come in, she's ensured that she's taken it from Adopt a Village, which we call the VAP, Village Adoption Program. It is now called VIT, the Village and Industries Transformation. So we're taking it further into small enterprises. The idea was always that we will not just skill. Because the whole the whole sort of trend was skill development. What happens in the end? We have to give them the enterprise linked and create nano entrepreneurs. I think we did go a very long way on that, and we are continuing that journey because in FICCI FLO, each president contributes and it carries on. I would not say that I alone did all that. I couldn't have done it without the team I had and all the women, the 21 chapter chairs that I've had, and the entire group behind me. So that was in the grassroots level.
All right. Yeah, I'm sure.
In the urban level, we did not adopt an ITI, so the Industrial Training Institutes. There we said we'll concentrate on the young girls there, young girls, young boys. And mind you, it was COVID times, but online had come in.
Yeah. So,
and we got sponsors. For example, the Sleepwell Foundation, also a past president, Sleepwell mattresses in the country. They offered to give us training for how to build a starting business, small business. And it was going to be a free training, and it was going to be a certified training by certified practitioners. So with that, what happened? All our chapters got together, and across the country, we had ITI students joining in. And one batch, we had 1,200 students over 3 batches certified and coming back for more. And then I realized that we need more content. So then we signed an MOU with the NSDC, National Skill Development Corporation. They have a lot of content, and we have the people. Yeah. We have these young people looking up to us, which is now continuing as well. So what I'm saying is that we just have to think differently. We thought out of the box. We didn't say, okay, we'll wait till, the world comes back to what it was. Because it wasn't going to ever come back to that. Online was the future. And we trained, we got so many more people. Faster, so many young students came forward. And the best part is that the chapters, like for instance, our Pune chapter, there are a lot of industrialists there. So when they had always had this ongoing program where the students could also, they would incubate the students, they would help them get an apprentice in their own companies. Say some are interior decorate, interior designers, architect firms. So they took the students on, and they got the training, they got the internship, and possibly got into the job roles. So there were trainings we did for skilling women for bikes, for being able to drive cars and be able to join the e-commerce, which had the e-commerce boom, where they needed people to be able to e-commerce boom and the food chain, Swiggy, Zomato, they needed deliveries. So that's when we tried to train girls who had come back from the big cities to the smaller cities, and they needed to be gainfully employed. Some we did well, some we couldn't. Sometimes they had a problem with getting the licenses because of the COVID situation. That's one or two failures we've had. Can't say everything was a great success, but yes, that's a move in the right direction. And we could foresee that girls deliver like the boys and be able to get your own income. So there were various levels we worked at. And at the corporate level, we had a tie-up with IIM Bangalore and got the training for women directorship. So if you do that training as a woman director, then the database of the government of India, which now mandates that this percentage of women must be on the board. So the training is already provided by FLO to the members, not members, but beyond as well. So those are many, I'm just naming a few instances in which we try to work. And it's successfully carrying on now. Devashri, I think I've lost you again. But so that is what I did in FLO, and the village adoption has been a very satisfying journey and a very empowering one. So and my FLO Northeast chapter is doing exceedingly well and carrying on the mantle of carrying on the mission of the president now, who's here now in place. So I think we've lost Devashri, but I've been asked to, I can see that you're asking me the question about being awarded one of FLO's Outstanding Women Achievers. Yes, that was when FLO had turned 30 years. It's 37 years now. And the decision was to select 30 women among our members who they thought could be recognized from our fold. And I'm very grateful to have been one of the 30 women achievers that FICCI FLO had decided to honor in its 30th year of inception. And I'm waiting for the next question. Yes. So I was, this year, after I stepped down from my tenure in April, I had the great opportunity of representing the Northeast along with my partner Jasmina. And both of us were selected to be members in this handloom committee by the Ministry of Textiles. It happened in September this year. And I think with our new minister in place for textiles, his focus is on how to double and quadruple the exports from our country for textiles. So when this committee took place and was constituted, they looked for representatives from the Northeast, and we are very, very sort of, we feel very responsible to be able to give the true picture about the handloom situation in the Northeast, and are we really ready for the export potential that the country is asking of us? And those are what we have. There's ongoing talk going on with the ministry. In fact, on the 9th of November, we'll have the opportunity to speak with Minister Piyush Goyal directly. And he's very keen and taking a lot of great interest in asking each of us. We are members from the West, from the South, and of course in Delhi, and from us from the Northeast, and really trying to work and given our recommendations as requested by the government. We're hoping to see that this will mean good things for us in the Northeast. This is how we are waiting to work on that. Now, on another note, that Debashri, I'm sorry that she's not been able to come back in.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am, I'm connected. I'm so sorry. There's a lot of network issue that I'm facing here today.
No, I'm glad you warned me. It could have been me, but thank you for putting up the question. So I tried to answer. There was one before this, I think. Or shall we go?
Yeah, ma'am. Are we done talking about you were awarded the one of the FLO's outstanding women achievers as one of the 30 members in FLO's 30th year of inception. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I was just I've actually already given the answer, but shall I repeat it?
No, ma'am. It's okay. We can go to our next topic then.
Yes, I answered that for your audience. But let me tell you about this question that I can see that as the regional convener as the Responsible Tourism Society of India. Yes, thank you very much for this. In fact, we have our another talk, All India meeting for this. They call it the RTSOI, Responsible Tourism Society of India. Really is built by all the stalwarts of the industry. And I'm very grateful to be chosen as the regional convener. This only happened this year after my term ended. That's the only time I could take on any more responsibilities. And for Responsible Tourism Society of India, they are extremely focused on ecotourism. They used to be called the Ecotourism Society of India before. So basically, our company, our wildlife lodge, the Difflu River Lodge, was then one of the only, I think, certified ecotourism lodges in the Northeast. Now, of course, the name has changed to RTSOI, and they will do audit. They will ensure that all the systems are in place to be really called a practitioner of responsible tourism. And we will all be mandated, and we are waiting for the rules. We will know in our meeting on the 8th on how all the entities in the Northeast, all the hotels and other, the homestays, everyone, they should really come forward and get themselves this audit under Responsible Tourism of India. So that would be like a accreditation, like accredited as an IATA agent, for instance, to issue international tickets. This accreditation as the RTSOI, Responsible Tourism Practitioners, is extremely important for the trade. And particularly for us in the Northeast, with our fragile ecosystem, this is the only way forward. And I would, through your channel, I encourage all practitioners of tourism to please be in touch and to please come forward so that we can talk to you about this and how you need to do this audit. There'll be more information going out in the social media, but thank you for this opportunity to tell you about it.
Yeah, and ma'am, for our next question, we actually have a few pictures of yours, which was taken at the convocation ceremony of Downtown University, where Rema Das and other prominent women entrepreneurs are also present. So I'd like to request our technical team to show the pictures on the screen. So would you like to tell us about that a bit? Yeah, here are the pictures.
So this was the convocation of Downtown University. And Dr. N.N. Datta, I remember, I used to tell him that, I don't think I'm really, in a position to take an honorary doctorate. But he would say that, no, for whatever you've done for tourism and for work with women, And we must encourage our own people. He said that, "Aminidile kunedibo." That's the fact. We
Yeah.
Assamese should stick up for each other. We should
Yeah.
recognize ourselves as the private university of Assam,
Hmm.
encouraging its own Assamese entrepreneurs, its filmmakers, and its scientists. As you can see, the third lady there was. So
Hmm.
that is how I'm very grateful, how he gave us this, great honor, and
Hmm.
your sort of honorary doctorate, honoris causa, I think, in the cause of ecotourism and working for women's issues in tourism. So I'd like to thank Dr. Datta, a visionary ahead of his time, who did think about encouraging these three women on their path. I think that was in 2017. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and ma'am, I also read, like you were talking about Mr. Phookan at the beginning of this interview, and I read in one of your interviews that Mr. Phookan and you are called the Tarzan and Jane of Assam. So, like that's quite interesting. What's could you tell us what's the story behind that?
So, when we started, and Ashish decided that, okay, we'll call the company Jungle Travels. And we tried
Yeah,
to register the name, and we had to go to Shillong. And I remember they said, "Hey, tutu naam karunai." So, of course, we got the trademark.
yeah,
And I think with Jungle Travel, we became Jungli and Tarzan and Jane. And, it was a big joke with all our friends. But it's a name that nobody forgets, I think. All these years, 30 years, Jungle Travels, that's a unusual name. But after
hmm,
we've grown into other bits, and we got into long distance river cruising, for instance, under something called navigation, and
hmm,
my outbound, which is the JTI holidays where we do the international ticketing, we really couldn't just call ourselves Jungle Travels India. But so we have different verticals. For Eastern India, it's Eastern Odyssey. For just wildlife, it's Jungle Travels India. For ticketing, like I said, JTI holidays. For the long distance river cruising, it is something on navigation. So everything has morphed together under the JTI Group. So that is how we now call it the JTI Group.
and not only that, ma'am, you are also the co-founder of, like you just mentioned, Assam Bengal Navigation and Diflu River Lodge, which is quite famous under the under Assam Bengal Navigation, which is co-founded by you. And this is where the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, whom we popularly known as Prince William and his wife Kate Middleton stayed in 2015 during their visit in
Yes.
Kaziranga, Assam. So, like, how did you that is such a big achievement, ma'am, and like I'm pretty sure that there are quite a few places in India they have visited and stayed overnight. So, that's a very big thing. And how did you succeed in achieving this, and where you are in the tourism sector of India today?
You know what? For Ashish and myself, we never really sought anything. A lot of questions were that how did you manage to get them to come and stay? We had no idea they were coming. They were doing a lot of recce from Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace. There were, recce's going on, and they were visiting all the areas because I think he had come with the mission that he was going to visit. He only went to Mumbai, and they were coming directly to Kaziranga. But where they would stay, we had no idea. And for us, as you know, if you visit our property, we have no wall, we have no fencing, we have no wire. It's a totally open. We are like a seamless from the park, then the river, and then us, because we are very old property. It was started by my father-in-law, Jahnabi Phookan, who's considered really the father of tourism in Kaziranga in the 70s, and it was called Kamrup Complex. And from those days, 40 years, and then my husband Ashish took up the project again in 2008. And on the same piece of land, we built up our simple cottages, which is on lowland. So when the river overflows, like it does every year, we go underwater. So we
Oh,
are
wow.
a conservation story. If you go in through our gateways, you'll find not only tourists who come, the royals who've come, but also elephants who walk across. We have elephants, we have, swamp deer, all the animals who come and take shelter in our higher land during monsoon. So we are very part of the ecosystem. So we didn't think that they would come because we thought there is no security. I mean, if you're looking for security, it's not us. We are totally open.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Still, I would like.
I think that's what they loved, really. So finally, we were told that it would be us, and they would come and stay with us. So they took all the 12 cottages that we have. They stayed with us for 2 nights, 3 days, and we met them at such close quarters. And they would just walk hand in hand across the lawns. It was all they're very, all the security which they must have had were all plain clothes and very unobtrusive. And we basically left them alone. No photographs, no, pushing, shoving. We were also very respectful of our distance. They were also very respectful, and they would come and talk with us. She came into our little shop and she wanted to. I remember my Lahe Looms, the first sari had come out, and to this day, tried that on. In fact, I helped her wear that, and I remember Prince William was saying that, oh, we're going to Bhutan after that, and she needs to know how to wear a sari. And obviously, my sari wasn't all that great to take to Bhutan. Nothing else was ready. So we met a very grounded and a very, dignified and lovely couple. When we had the Bihu dance with the local and all community work, and they were all wearing, those are orchids, kupo that time in season April. And she enjoyed all that. I think it was very simple. There was a lovely little village boy who would, and I think they were missing their children, and this village boy they went up to hug him and he kicked them in the shins and he kicked her also in the shin, I think. So he became a little celebrity and all the local press went to visit him at home. I think it was very charming. And you know what? I was unexpectedly happy that at the end of the tour, Prince William came up to us, shook hands, and he said that we'd be back with the children. It was something that he really needn't have even said. But the fact that he felt that was so nice. And, I think, and our people, all our chef, our entire staff, our entire team, they are such lovely people, all local people. And I think the warmth, the simplicity, the innocence of our people is what really, I think charmed them. That is also what livelihood stands for. Not just brick and mortar, but it's people.
Yeah. And also, ma'am, like talking or listening to a journey, like you have done so much in so many fields. You're a journalist, you're an entrepreneur, and you were like you studied abroad and worked all over, like in so many places, and you chose to stay in Assam. And so, what is it? What do you love enjoy about being an entrepreneur here in your native region?
You see, I did study abroad, but I was happy to come back to my own country. Of course, I got married and I was back though I was, born and brought up in Calcutta and I was basically a Calcutta girl. But when I got married and came here, I thought instead of, I think that was also an opportunity, that was a occasion for an opportunity that let's do something. It's virgin territory. Here was the space which needed to be marketed, so jungle travel started. There was a beautiful river, Brahmaputra, which needed to have those river cruises. So when Ashish found his partner, and we had the joint venture and started the Assam Bengal Navigation Company, that was another opportunity. So taking on even the Wildlife Lodge, make it simple, make it sustainable, give employment to local people, carry your communities along with you. That is all that we stand for. And that is how we became entrepreneurial by habit, by nature, like that, and not just a business. It's never been just a business for us. Because I think it was more like, we always feel very strongly that we all have a responsibility towards society. Those of us who are a little more educated and privileged should really do their bit. And if you grow your community along with you, everyone prospers. So the idea is not just competition, but collaboration, growing together, helping everyone along with you. That is what I think makes one an entrepreneur and makes one, you have to work together with people. That's how it really is the essence of our company, JTI Group.
Ma'am, also for our next question, we actually have a picture of your very interesting picture of you with Chief Minister of Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma. We can also, I would like to request our technical team to display the picture on the screen. And if you remember the photo of Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, Vice President of India, is also there in the picture. Like, could you tell us about what was happening there?
I was wondering
Yeah,
which one
about
you
this.
okay. So this was
Yeah,
very interesting, the Brahmaputra Heritage Center, the
yeah,
Mahabahu Brahmaputra Heritage Center, the old DC bungalow has now
yeah,
been converted into this very nice place. And I was asked to help them out with the aesthetics in the place and do a bit too. So I'm very happy to have been able to, the entire, I can't see it very well here, but the entire curtains of that heritage lodge is in airy silk. I got it woven, particularly as curtains, are beautiful across that
wow,
whole bungalow. And
yeah.
the Majuli room when you visit, the artifacts, the entire Majuli mask, the bisonis, and our bell metal, our kahi bati, the very old antique ones, they're all there in the river lounge of that place. So those were my contribution, and I'm very grateful to have been part of what they call, I think, the artistic team, which curated the whole thing. And this little place that you see here was
Yeah.
inaugurated. The center was inaugurated by our Vice President Venkaiah Naidu, and this place is called the Craft Shop, and where this was only concentrated on, they don't have the right pictures, but we started doing, this is where we showed Assam's food products, Assam's handicrafts, our bell metal, kahi bati, our mukhal, our paintings. There's a lot there. And Venkaiah Naidu was very impressed to see that. CM and that's the governor, they were there for the inauguration. After that, we've had Nirmala Sitharaman, our finance minister, who's particularly interested in the bell metal. So I think which is all indigenous to Assam, it needs a wider audience in the country. That's also part of what I do. And this company, this is what I was running as the Lahe Life. As part of my Lahe Looms, this is Lahe Life. But this is not just my business. This is my platform for all the artisans. And we call it Lahe Life from the artisans along the Brahmaputra. It was not just me. I sort of just collect what the others also have to give. There's lovely honey that we produce in Assam by a friend. There's chili paste that's also produced by a friend. The food products in which this company have a small stake in, and they're all doing great work to give employment opportunity and livelihood to all our people of this region. So that is what this Lahe Life is about.
And ma'am, talking like you have had over decades of experience in entrepreneurship and journalism as well, and you are the co-founder of so many of this hotels and organizations. So, with whatever experience you have had, what important skills, according to you, one would need to develop to be a successful entrepreneur in today's generation?
Well, first thing, there is no shortcut to success. It's very cliched, I know. But whatever you see now, it's been 3 years of work. It's not been overnight. We were there working for the last 30 years to see what you see today. And you have to also believe, and you must love what you do. Why we work till today is because we love what we do. And there's still so much. During COVID times, my husband Ashish used to feel so responsible and us wondering, how do we keep our people going? There's so many companies just closed down. So many big hotels chains, they just closed shop. But we try to keep going, pay 50% maybe, but keep your people. And in a way, see, that time what we used to say is that when the fishermen can't go to sea, you must repair your nets. So that's the time when we took back, saw what we should do, think about different ways of doing things, reinvent your business, and sort of reallocate your resources. So I think that's what an entrepreneur is about. It's not a great successful uphill journey. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of pitfall which you don't see. and which we've and the first 5 years of every business is always, you can shut it down. There were so many times we felt that, why are we struggling like this? We could have just had a nice corporate job and get that salary end of the day. But then when you think it's not only for yourself, there's so many people who depend on you. In a sector like tourism, it's not just the direct employment, but the indirect employment that you're generating. So I think that is what you must have patience. You must be very persistent. You must have tenacity of purpose. And you must believe. And you must be very ethical. There is no shortcut. There is a lot of integrity required. What you say, you must stick to. And time, punctuality. Those are all small things that you think, but they make a big difference to the overseas customer. And how you, and don't forget, each of us, we are ambassadors of where we come from, our region. So we have to be very responsible. So all the entrepreneurs there, they think tourism seems, the low-hanging fruit. There's no initial labor capital requirement. You can just start off from a suitcase, but to be consistently deliver. That is what's important. And then to be able to stick to your word, stick to your commitment, believe in what you do, and take your community along with you. Those are what the entrepreneur needs to do. Only then can, the whole ecosystem also has to thrive. So that is what we talk about. So.
And ma'am, on the topic of COVID, we have seen that the pandemic has affected everybody and all sectors, and entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs from the Northeast, have also been affected. So how can these women from the Northeast maximize their opportunities post-COVID era?
Well, depends on whichever sector they come from. They have, like I said, that throughout the COVID times, when the option was, you just send my weavers home. But how would they go back home? Because even the buses had stopped. I kept, and there were no raw materials. We had a bad time trying to source the raw materials. The pat, muga, the thread, the yarn, even that was in short supply. But we managed to gather together. We managed to continue, weaving. That's a small example I've given. So we've all tried to do a bit. Keep their home fires burning. And in tourism, a lot of people went on to do sort of home deliveries instead, food deliveries from home, cloud kitchens, where you cook not only for yourself, but you could also have other women cooking at their homes and give them employment. So everyone thought out of the box. You just have to think out of the box depending on what industry you were in. But and some industry did very well, logistics, e-commerce, the ones who were the content writers. I think it was a win-win time for them. In fact, now the world must change and see that you probably don't need to go to office any longer. You can very well work from home.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of budding entrepreneurs who've come up, who have left their big city job, who lost their jobs rather, came back to the small towns. And then that is when in the Northeast you see that sustainable livelihood that we talk about. We're coming back to maybe what Gandhiji had talked about, the circular economy. Go back to your roots. You have your paddy, you have your fish, you have your fruits, your vegetables right there. You work from home. Internet connectivity is all that. Now the government is trying, that Modi ji, the connectivity is giving us, the fiber optic possibilities which are there now. All that will happen that you're going back to your own areas and probably be able to work from there. And I've seen a lot of rural entrepreneurs is the new word now. Nano entrepreneurs, rural entrepreneurs. Women are being able to sell from the comfort of their home. Thanks to Amazon Saheli and thanks to all the other portals out there who are training. And then, of course, what the government has done, that I've spoken about in FICCI FLO a lot, about onboarding on the government e-marketplace, called the GEM, the government e-marketplace. If you could, as a woman entrepreneur, the government has mandated that 3% of all purchases, whether services or goods, must be taken from women entrepreneurs. Do you have that product or the service you're able to supply? You should onboard the government e-marketplace, which we at FICCI FLO, we've given a lot of training for that. In fact, we have conducted one for NRL for the Northeast. So those are ongoing efforts. And there are opportunities galore. But the moot point is that a lot of good work is going on, but in silos. So organizations such as FICCI FLO, our job was to connect these dots and give the knowledge to the right people. And that way it was a win-win for all. I think it's a very enabling environment that the government of India is now providing. And it's up to the women to come forward and seek it.
And ma'am, not only this, you also worked for the EMPRITEC program under the UN General Assembly. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
yeah. So ma'am,
it's a very interesting
something about
concept.
that.
Let me tell you very briefly what EMPRITEC. We found that when I'd spoken with the EMPRITEC India head, I tried to understand what this was about, and I learned that under the United Nations Trade Development Organization (UNCTAD), they had the EMPRITEC program running in so many countries, and they were finally installed in India, and was mandated under the United Nations General Assembly to work for under the creation of what they call HIRA, which is high impact entrepreneurs from emerging regions for action, HIEERA. And what does that mean? That meant that they had turned the model the correct way, really. It was bottom up, that you train the entrepreneurs from the ground, make them capable of being able to absorb the investment funds which are out there. There's money flush in the world. They need the right entrepreneurs to connect with. And that was mandated. And it's empirical studies which have been established under Harvard University and what EMPRITEC follows. That the course material and the way they sort of encourage your entrepreneurial behavior, which they call their personal entrepreneurial competencies. That's a very interesting course. And with that, you sort of hone yourself for existing entrepreneurs to fine-tune what you're doing. And then when you are come up to that level, which they will handhold you through, then you go through the business linkages and be available for the United Nations Investors Forum, where they will take on entrepreneurs, and give the funding that's required, much like the venture capitalists do here. So with that, I was asked, I approached the government of Assam. We've asked for entrepreneurs, and how do they choose the entrepreneurs? How do they identify? They go to the local banks. There's SBI, the government of Assam, and we ask for entrepreneurs listed there to enroll, and then they take the interview process and they go through that. I had come in with them when as the president of FICCI FLO. I started the conversation with UN Women. By the end of my term, UN Women had also tied up EMPRITEC. So there was a UN program available with the funding to go in for this training. And this is now available under various entities such as SIDBI and SBI under EMPRITEC. And we are encouraging more and more women to reach out to us. And we will also come forward, and I'm saying this on this platform as well, that we're looking for entrepreneurs who would come forward and get that training under EMPRITEC if they qualify, so that we can raise entrepreneurs from off the ground. And then they concentrate on developing the HIRA districts. So in each district, you work and you sort of develop the ecosystem for other entrepreneurs to come up. So this has been an ongoing journey for me. I'm now one of the practitioners and still learning, but it's been a great opportunity to meet with entrepreneurs across the country. And for my region, I'm very keen that I connect more and more people to this entity. In fact, we just had the opportunity to speak with the Secretary MSME of Government of India, and introduce them to the Empatech model. And we hope to have a very large sort of process in place. So that is what Empatech means, and that is what I'm here as the senior advisor for this Northeast region, and hoping that more entrepreneurs we can identify and help to build up.
And ma'am, speaking about the Northeast, like you have mentioned several times that you have that certain ideas and visions for this region. So could you share some of your ideas with us?
No, I wouldn't go so far as to say I have any ideas as such, but what I'm trying to say is that the linkages that I have found, I think, as being in the presidency at the national chamber, I really had exposure to a lot of opportunities I could see. And what was important for me is to be able to bring it back to my region. For instance, that is how Empatech, I'm trying very hard to, to build up that ecosystem in my own region. And we have other practitioners from Nagaland, from Manipur, who have also been Empatech practitioners, and we're looking to do more. There's another one for, I would say, which I must tell you about the Delphic Society, which I think I had mentioned to you about. There also is an opportunity to get more of our people into the arts and culture. What are we famous for? Our arts, our culture,
Right.
our other natural resources, our wildlife, and all besides that. As a people, as entrepreneurs itself, in the entrepreneurship field, I'll come back to the Empatech model, which is very important to bear, and it can bear fruit. It's a low-lying fruit, and there's opportunity for our nano entrepreneurs to come up under this. So this is what I got when I had just finished my program. Now, what is my hope for Empatech? That I would like to be able to create an ecosystem for so many other women in the weaving sector. And the second point, which you're now showing the screen, this is the Delphic Games. So I think there was a slide before this, but let me tell you about, like the Olympics that we have. Oh no, not this one. Sorry, we'll go to the second one. The Olympic Games, which is, and then we have the Delphic Games, this modern era. Delphic Games is about the arts and culture. So both had originated in Greece, and the Olympic Games and the Delphic Games had carried on for 1,000 years before it was declared as, I think, heathen games in 394 BC. So they were banned. And in I think 1,500 years later, in 1894, the Olympic Games was revived under the Olympic IOC, Olympic International Olympic Committee in Paris in 1894. Okay. Now we all know what the Olympics is about. And then I think 1,600 years later, that means 100 years after the Olympic Games, in 1984 in Paris, the Delphic Games was also revived. The Delphic Games is for art and culture. And Mr. Christian Kirsch, BBC, they started this in 1994. And this is in Berlin. They're 27 years young, and as they say, they're 2,500 years old. And in this, the International Delphic Council, they have the India Delphic Council. I think in my capacity as FICCI FLO, they approached me to help to identify the practitioners of the arts and culture of our region, of the country. I'm very happy to be able to take on this responsibility, and I'm there as the advisor for the Northeast, and they have the six broad categories. The games are, which is musical arts and sounds, performing arts and acrobatics, visual arts and handicrafts, social arts and communications, and architecture and ecology. So under all these verticals, we need to find the right people in our 8 Northeast states. So that is what I've been doing last few weeks since I've got absorbed into the system. and trying to get the state council up. And the Delphi Games, like the Olympic Games, I said, they are held every 4 years. And this year is going to be the turn of India. So they have the Delphic Games and they have the Delphic Youth Games. Now let me tell you this: in the third Delphic Games, which was held in Seoul, I think in 2009, it was Assam's artisan who got the gold for it. And his name is Somnath Bora Oza. He did the dhol baton. As an individual percussionist, he beat, I think, some 54 countries and fought the gold for it.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So all these Delphic Games, I think 7 times it's been held over these years. And this time it'll be in India, though in the COVID times, a lot will be online and some will be, live. And I'm trying to see that at least in that space, at least they come to Assam as well. And we will make that happen in December. So that is what I'm taking this opportunity to reach out through your medium again and tell you about the Delphic Council.
Oh, that's so nice, ma'am. It would be great if they hold the games in Assam. Yeah, sure. And ma'am, like you have given us so much information, so much knowledge throughout this session that we have talked about. Like, what would be one message you'd like to tell to all our viewers watching and all women entrepreneurs from the Northeast?
I would just say that you must think, as I think each of us, like I've said before, must give back to society. If we all do that and not just think for ourselves, but for others around us, we can all grow together. And that is what I'd like to say. It's a community consciousness. And be proud of the region you come from. I myself, I'm feeling a little awkward to speak in English in Assam. I think we should be proud about our own language. And we must be very, proud of our own culture and heritage. Because in my company, I've seen in Jungle Travels and Assam, Bengal, main thing what the tourists from overseas would say is that you have lovely people and y'all are very, all our people are very simple and from the sons of the soil, really. And the fact that they're very proud of of where we come from. So that's very important. We must have that pride. And I would say encourage young people now to have, the world is out there. It's a huge global world, but don't forget where you come from. You must have your own roots because everywhere else you will be just one of many, but be a global citizen, but think locally, support locally.
Yeah.
Be global, but act local. I think what Modi ji has said, I would say that. And that is what I would say for everyone. Think beyond yourself, help everyone along the way, and be kind to people on your way up because you're sure to meet them on your way down. And be compassionate, be thankful, be grateful for what you have, for what you've been given, and try to share.
That was such a wonderful session, ma'am. And on that note, I'd like to end our today's session. It was wonderful interacting with you. We really hope that you take your time someday again in the future for our show. And thank you again, ma'am, for appearing, for taking your time out. We know you have a very busy schedule. You still took the time out for us. It's a big honor to have you on our show. So thank you, ma'am. Have a great evening.
Thank you to everyone who listened throughout and for your patience. And congratulations to NET for this new venture that you have. And it's going very well, I can see. And I wish you all the very best to your channel as well. And to all the people out there watching me, thank you very much for your patience. Good or bad, whatever we are, what we are, and we are trying our best in here.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jahnabi Phookan is an entrepreneur, co-founder of Konyak Store, the former immediate past president at FICCI FLO, the women's wing of the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. and also the co-founder of two award-winning tourism companies, Jungle Travels India and Assam Bengal Network. Konyak Store is the platform for grassroots artisans of India's Northeast with native handicrafts and handloom products. In 2020, she became the 37th National President of FICCI FLO and the first ever person from the Northeast to head a National Chamber of Commerce. During her tenure as President of FICCI, Jahnabi Phookan worked extensively towards sustainable practices and livelihood for the financial stability of women. Passionate about women's empowerment, Phookan strongly advocates and tirelessly works towards building sustainable livelihoods for women's economic upliftment. Phookan has worked for the causes of women empowerment, equality, social justice, and skill development in order to make them more confident, employable, and independent. She has worked for the cause of women weavers of Assam and runs her own signature line as Tribal Heritage and Lahe Looms since 2014.